Well, I've come out today. I'm at the this is the Ware Creek PRA public recreation area. Anybody that's ever driven that road knows that can be a very interesting road. Over there's a big blue bridge, right? That road at the moment can only be described as, oh my god. It was bad last year and it was bad the year before, but I really didn't think I was going to get in here. I'm more concerned about if it rains or whatever, I'm not getting out of here. It's as simple as that. I'll be here until the road dries out, which will be sometime tomorrow, which is why you always make sure that you have everything you need with you just in case. Right, so I can say though, it's very nice down in here at the moment. This is Ware Creek. As you can see, the water is down quite a bit, so that's good. So the purpose of today's trip is not to get stuck in the middle of bloody nowhere. It is to actually see if I can do trail 14, which is the one of the north-south connectors. Now, anybody that follows my videos will know that I've cleared out trail 19. This is the turnaround loop piece in the parking lot area, by the way. There's a bloody big puddle in here, so be careful. Yes, so trail 19 heads down the valley that way to the Sheep Valley, and trail 14 heads that way. So I'm going to see whether I can cut across here onto trail 14 and see how well it's marked. I know it's marked. Mark of the trail parks further down that way and then cuts across this river, which looking at the state of the road, I think is actually a very smart thing to do. However, I am going to try and do it from the original location, which is here, because I'm a bit of a stickler for that. So I'm going to see if I can do trail 14 starting at the Ware Creek PRA, and I'm going to head down through here and see what kind of a mess I find. And I have every reason to believe it's going to be a mess, so on I go. There are the things you find. Firing literally straight out in the middle of nowhere. It's actually not a bad spot. Now I can see a bit of a trail over the other side of there, and it does look like there's a piece of a crossing. That just heads down to the rest of Link Creek, so that's Ware Creek. So I think I'll cross here. Yeah, because the other side of there looks like that's where the trail was. So I'm going to cross there and see if I can do it. Right, so just cross Link Creek, which is down there, and the water, to be quite honest, was only about 4 or 5 inches deep. That was it. So plenty of rocks in there. And just the other side of there, you come up the hill, and this is very clearly an old piece of trail here. Nice old cuts from the past. But on I go. I'm going to head down this way. It braids all over the show in here, because obviously this is all cattle country as well. So I am making a bit of noise down in here because there's a lot of bears down in here. So I'm going to basically parallel the creek down that way, because I'm not sure where the actual trail went. So I'm just going to kind of head that way and see what I find. Well, the things you find. This has been used this year. That's not last year. That's been used this year. Yeah. Well, now. Well, those are fresh cut. So, yes. Very nice. I can definitely see why. Yeah. Oh, it says something. Somebody actually wrote something on the log there. I can't see what they wrote, but yeah. Right. I know I'm looking for a big meadow. Oh, here we go. What we got here? It says something like that. What does it say? 67 Jude, does that say? Jude something 2025 something. Ah, who knows? Excellent. I'll tell you what though, whoever you were, you found a freaking good spot. I shall remember this. Right, there's a great big meadow coming up. I have put my welly boots on today because there's a lot of water down through here, and there's also a lot of tall grass, so I'm not sure where the original something stood here. There's squares in the ground. Yeah, right, so not sure exactly where the trail comes in and out, because again we've got cow trails everywhere. So I will head down that way, because I know I've got to go through a big meadow and the grass is very tall, so that's the other reason for wearing my welly boots today. Right, so I've come out the trees into a big meadow. I know I'm looking for a big meadow, so that's a good thing. I found something I'm looking for. There's some big square structures over here, like fence corral things. But, I believe one of them is a research thing that they quite often do that. I can tell you now, the choice of wearing welly boots through here is a very wise one. Yes, it does get a little wet in here. I know Jill Daffron does advise that this is a trail that is best done when it's dry. So my general direction that I'm travelling is roughly that way for a while, and then I've got to head south. So yes, large bridge fence. I have marked where I came out the trees over there. Little piece of red tape there. That yeah, so I'm going to cut across this very nice meadow, because I know that somewhere across here I need to head south, but no idea where. Like I say, this is a trail that just doesn't get used, this piece of it anyway. This is the old part of the trail. Nobody really uses this, and that's fine, because you can cut across through these trees over here, across the creek, and join the what is it, quad 9 trail or whatever it is. Yeah, it joins over there. So either way, I'm going to leave myself a very nice pathway through here, and I'm going to head somewhere over that way. Not sure where. I think most people probably follow the river and down through there, so I'm going to go and see if there's any signs to tell me what this square thing is, and then go from there. Well, now this is a message for Mark of the Trail. I remember you did this route and you said, I don't think anybody does the walk-in from on Trail 14 from the Ware Creek PRA anymore. You are absolutely 100% correct. I have just spent way too much time bushwhacking through all kinds of crap up through there, and it's just swamp and garbage. It's terrible. I'm literally soaked up to my knees. My welly boots are a good job I wore them. And now I've got down here. I gave up on the swamp up in there, trying to follow the original trail. Just gave up on that. You just can't follow it. It's just nothing but swamp. So I've come down close to the creek. Ware Creek is just over in here, but I've just come to the trail and I see horse prints. And so somewhere up in here, I know I get into the big meadow where it joins the 4/9s trail or whatever that is. So advice, if you come to Ware Creek and you're doing this trail 14 from Ware Creek, the PRA, basically keep the creek on your left as far as you can until you get into the big meadow that I know is coming up over there. Do not try and follow the old route. Forget it. It's not happening. Yeah, right, on I go. Right, that's facing west. That's where I've just come from, and as you can see, this is a nice dry trail. Somebody cut a log out of the trail over there and stood it up. Not sure why they did that, but well done, whoever it was. That took some effort. Right, so I know sometimes horses can be a pain in the arse on the trail because of all the ruts and that they leave, but I can tell you now, if it wasn't for the horse people coming through this way, I think this trail would be completely lost. Yeah, so thank you very much, Mr. Horse People, if you ever watch this. But horses are definitely the ones keeping this trail open, and it's also a good way of navigating, because horse people live here. They know the best route through these mountains. I was way off to my right trying to follow the original Trail 14. Like I was saying just now, don't even bother. Yeah, that's been reclaimed by the forest, and that's fine. Trails do evolve over time. That's the nature of trails. Yeah, but this one clearly gets a lot of use. The horse riding people bring people up through here, and it's used for a lot of recreation. But there's one good thing about horse people is they carry chainsaws with them, and they cut out all these big trees. I say thank you. That was cut a while back. So horse people keep the trails good. So thank you. Yeah. Literally, Ware Creek is just over through there. So this trail, this horizontal piece, basically I've come from the west, I'm heading east. Basically keep that river, keep the Ware Creek on the left hand side for as long as you can, and up here there's a big meadow, and I'll show you where you turn off there in a minute. It shouldn't be too far from there now. Right, all the video I've done up to this point is basically the Trail 14. Oh, there's a deer over there. Hello dear. Oh dearie dear. Hello. Jolly good. Off you go. Thank you. Right, yeah, so Trail 14 that runs up to the Ware Creek PRA is that way. Now, if I'm right, this is the meadow where it kind of branches off. The corner you want to go through is that one over there if you're doing the 14 and down Death Valley is over there. A lot of the horse riders go that way because they cross this creek. I believe I'm correct in saying that roughly around here somewhere, look, there's one of the old trail markers up there in the tree. Look at that. Nice. Yeah, I believe I'm correct in saying that Mark, he parks down before what we call the mud hole. Anybody that comes down this road will know what the mud hole is, and I can tell you now it's not a very pleasant piece of road. I'm looking at that cloud over there because if it starts raining and raining heavy, I cannot get out of where I am. I have to stay here overnight. That's not an option. There's no way I can drive that road when it's wet. Deer over there in the forest behind me, probably calling that one that just came out of here. Right, so I'm going to cut across here through some nice waist high wet grass again, and where I'm going to head, I need to head over into that gap over there, but I'm going to follow the horse trail for as long as I can because there's less waist high wet grass, not no wet, but just less. Yeah, tell you what, it's bloody lovely in here though. The wildflowers are just amazing. Oh, we have a random post. Not sure what that random post is. I suspect it had a sign on it at one point because it has 2 holes in it. So, standing here, ah yes, I think I see something over there through that gap in the trees over there. The horse people I know go across here and then they cut across the river again to the Quad 9 trail or whatever, but I need to go that way. So let's see if I can find part of an old tread or something through here, help keep it going, and I'm going to head that way. I'm just looking back across this meadow. The horse trail runs close to the river, obviously. Where I've come from is straight across there. There is a diamond way over on that tree over there. I can just about see it. There doesn't seem, there is kind of a bit of a track in here, but not much. It kind of braids all over the show because there's nothing but deer but cows in here. So when I get to here, however, as I'm coming through here, I see a piece of tape on a tree up there, and this was obviously a trail, so I'm going to go that way. Right, well, I'm in the middle of bloody nowhere. This is the first bit of dry ground that I found, and by dry I mean less wet. This whole northern end of Death Valley, Trail 14, is nothing but flat, and we've had major floods and what have you here recently, and everywhere I'm walking it's just nothing but swamp. Absolute swamp. So I'm going to venture that way, probably another 100 meters. If I can't find a dry route through here, I'm just going to head back, which is about that way. Right, where's the sun? Over there. Right, okay, so I'm going to head that way for 100 meters. If I can't find anything drier, and I can tell you now the bugs are just unbelievable. Right, so I'm going to head that way. Right, well, I got to my 100-meter point and I went uphill. This is flat, look at it, just swamp through. It's horsetail everywhere. Everywhere I can see it's nothing but horsetail. So I'm not going to bother with this. This is going to be another trail for another day, so I'm going to head dead north that way. I'm just going to bushwhack through whatever I find as long as it's dry. Right, I'm going that way. And this is why you have to have a good sense of direction when you're out here. Anybody that's followed my videos will know I have a golden rule: know your limit, stay within it. Where I was heading is 6 kilometers of that swampy, crappy garbage. It sits wet in there and it is soaked in there. It's just too much. So I've turned around and come back, and I literally just bushwhacked dead north, because I knew if I bushwhacked dead north I would have to bump into the Ware Creek River. So that's where I just came down through from that lot. That's where I went this morning. I mean, there are bits of trail along here, but once you start heading south into like the Trail 14 down there, there are no markers in there, there's no nothing, and the grass is literally waist high, and I can tell you now it's an absolute swamp in there, and I have never seen so many bloody mosquitoes. We had a major rain event here. Oh, ugh, careful. A major rain event. Watch out for these round rocks. It's time for me to have a drink of water. Yeah. So there is nothing down in there for markers. You can't see nothing. So my golden rule, and know your limit, stay within it. But the further I was heading south, the worse it was getting. I mean, it was literally just waist high grass. You couldn't even walk through the damn stuff. And the mosquitoes and the bugs, just eaten me alive. So I'm going to call that one. So I may do that trip in from the bottom. I'll see how much sunshine we get to dry it right out, because it does need drying right out. Even the high areas, like normally if I'm bushwhacking through a forest, I mean, I just set a compass bearing or follow the sun and go that way, you know, and that's exactly what I did. And even heading uphill away from the flat bits, I can tell you now, you're in nothing but swamp. So not pleasant, also not safe. This area up in here is called Death Valley for a reason. Numerous people have gone missing up in here and not been found for years. Some have never been found. Yeah, so yes, when out hiking on your own in places like this, know your limits, stay within it. So I do know now I can just follow the river all the way back to where I'm parked, and then I can tackle the road again. Right, on I go. Well, if nothing else, it's been a very nice walk in the woods. Yeah, this got washed out a bit more around here. This corner's been eaten into a bit more. That's what rivers do though. This was raging the other week. Yeah, there's no way I'd have even dreamt of coming down through here the other week. Right, I'm going to follow my way back up. Just going to stay on the side of the creek, follow the creek all the way back up to the PRA. And then I'm going to get out of here. I've also noticed that way off down that way, there's some cloud. And this is not somewhere you want to get stuck in a thunderstorm, unless you've got a really decent truck, and I don't. So I'm going to head that way. Ah, this is that small creek. When I went the other way, up through there, I actually crossed this further up. Let's just make sure that's not slippery. Oh, some kind of bone. Not sure what that is. That can go over there. Don't know what that is. Some kind of bone. It's probably the last tourist that come up through here. Let me tell you, it is called Death Valley for a reason, and I'm not joking. Yeah. Right, so I'm going to follow the nice trail that the very nice horse people have eked out along the side of the creek here, rather than try to follow the original trail back. The original trail is way off to my left, I know it is, but I'm not going to follow that. I'm taking the wimp route. I'm following the horses, which is back along there. One thing I have to say is the wildflowers down through here, something else. I love it out in the mountains this time of year. When I came, I was way up over that way. The original trail 14 is way up over that way. This follows the creek across, so that's good. The shadow people, those shadow people. They're nice flowers. Loads of clover. Absolutely millions and millions of clover in here, which is great to see. Yeah. Well, if nothing else, I've had a really good, let's say 4 or 5 kilometre walk through swamp. This piece of trail along here is actually the best bit of trail, so thank you again, horse people, much appreciated. So I head along here. They tend to turn off here and go across the river there on the quad 9s or whatever it is, I don't know, one of them trails. But they cross the river up here, so I'm not doing it. Hang on, I just saw something large and black up there. What is that? Where creek right side? Something dark up in there, straight ahead of me. What is that? Didn't move when I shouted. It's either an extremely stubborn bear or it's a tree trunk. So let's hope it's a tree trunk. Yeah. If not, this might get interesting here in a second. There are a lot of bears up in here, so you just be careful. I know people always take the mickey and say, oh yeah, there's bears everywhere now. But there are up in here, so be very, very careful. Yeah. It's a good area for bears, because not many people come here. I can't imagine why. Yeah. The road in here is an absolute nightmare. If somebody doesn't run a grader down that road's going to be undrivable soon. Literally. It's got so much washout in there from all those floods. That, I had to literally thread the needle all the way down here. And I'm riding ridges to avoid water ruts, and oh yeah, that was not a pleasant drive. That's the other reason why I'm heading out. I'm looking at the cloud and thinking to myself, if I do decide to get in a really stubborn frame of mind, which I can do, I've been known to do that, and continue heading south. I could have found where I was going. Where I was heading was down to the Muriel Dixon gravesite, And anybody that knows this area will know exactly where that is. But that was my goal. However, that didn't work out that way. So my guess is this is where the horses cross. So I'm just coming down here to have a look because I need to continue up the left hand bank of the creek here. My guess is the horses cross here. Let's just have a look. Yeah, so the horses cross here. I don't want to cross here. I could. And that's where Mark parks up over there. Mark of the trail, yeah, he parked up over there somewhere and cut across this way. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go back up this bank because I'm stubborn, and then I'm going to turn right and head up to the PRA. I'm going to stay this side. Right, on I go. This is a point of reference for anybody. The creek is here. The road is just up over through those trees over that way. The creek is here. This is the horse crossing, and the original way back to what's the name? The Ware Creek PRA is roughly this way. So stay to the left of the riverbank. It'll take you where you need to go. This was once a very busy trail up through here this way, but not so much now, because this is more of a route. If you want to come places and explore and just get off the beaten path and what have you, but this is great up in this area. I love this area up in here. So much exploring you can do up in here, it's just not funny. However, if you're going to do stuff like this, make sure you have an insanely good sense of direction, which I do. Look at all this horsetail. See, even this is wet in here. This is flat. You think this would all just drain into the creek, wouldn't you? But it doesn't. So this will take me back up to the crossing. I've got to cross Link Creek if I got this way. See if I can get another shot of the river here. This is a very nice creek. I do like exploring in it. Be careful of the river banks because we just had some major flooding. Yeah, nice, isn't it? Right, I'm going to put this camera away because I've got a whole bunch of trees and crap to cross over, and there's a big meadow coming up. I just want to do some shouting when I get into the meadow. Right, this is the creek. This is Ware Creek. If you look in the distance, that piece that goes up around there, that's the top of the road. That's a good bit of road. The mud hole is actually just over there, and there's no mud in it at the moment, Mark. It's actually pretty good, but there's still a big dip that you've got to kind of drive around in a little car, I can tell you. But yeah, certainly very pleasant. Look at that, just watch these banks because they're all so badly undercut at the moment because of all the flooding. Yeah, the creek's flowing pretty good, that's for sure. Right, to get back to the parking lot you need to go that way. Right, this is part of the old trail that heads up to the parking lot. This mountain you can see over here, this is like the very northern end of Gleason's Ridge. So if you walked all the way along Gleason's Ridge, you'd end up the top of there somewhere. Where I went this morning was the far side near those pine trees over there and cut through. But if you look at it, it's all willow. It's like waist height, wet, yucky, bloody soaked willow. So yes, I just started to dry out and then I'm back into the grass again. So yeah, where I went this morning was over next to those trees over there, those pine trees. So yeah, don't do that. Yep, it's amazingly nice walk though. If you want to come somewhere and just wander around and just wander. Oh yeah, this is nice up in here. Oh, breeze, yes please. I'll take the breeze, please. Yeah, but see these willows. This is how high they are. This I can't even see over the top of them, which is also a little dangerous because this is, like I say, this is bare country. So that is why I'm making a lot of noise coming through here. It's if I was doing Gleason's Ridge now, I would literally just head straight up that mountain there, find a route up to the top of that ridge, follow that, and then head south for about 8 kilometres. That would take me all the way down to Windy Point. But since I did Windy Point in one of my other videos there the other week, I'm not going that way. So, yeah, I am walking a lot slower through here. So it's a good idea to make a lot of noise and walk slow. Yeah. Because you never know what you're sharing the pathway with. Yeah. Even this is wet. Look at it. Yeah. I've got to head along here somewhere. Yeah. It's very nice out in here though, isn't it? Look at it. It's lovely. Yeah. I can guarantee you, you walk up through here, you're not likely to meet anybody else. Right, so like I say, this is Gleason's Ridge. Trail 14 see that hill that's there? Trail 14 goes around the other side of that hill somewhere and then disappears off south. God knows bloody where, because the grass is so high and there are no markers in there because the trail doesn't get used much, so there's not much foot traffic through there. I was hoping to find some horse prints. I'm coming back into the meadow where the big square things are, like the research thing, and I'll show you where that is. It's just up here. You also have to be very careful when you're walking because you don't want to be tripping over things. If you trip over and break your leg out here, you'll be adding yourself to the missing persons never found again list. Yeah. Right, yeah, so here's the big square, whatever that is, research thing, and where I'm heading is into the forest, literally straight across that way. So I'm just going to concentrate here because I've got some ruts and stuff coming up. Yeah, so I'm back at the square structure. Where I went this morning was down that side, through the trees over there, down there, into a meadow and stuff. Completely lost the bloody trail in the middle of a swamp, and it was literally, as you can see, look at the height of the willow. You can't see nothing. You can't see, once you get down in there. There was a little piece of a reasonable tread I found down in there, which I came back on, part of the horse tread, but I could not find the turn off to head south. Couldn't find that. I knew exactly what I was looking for because I've seen it in Mark the Trails video. Yeah, but couldn't find it. Grass is too tall, willow's too tall, and it's a swamp. Yeah, so range research project. Please do not disturb. You are quite good there, I won't. Yeah. Very nice place though. Yeah. Can't odds that. Right, so where I'm going is over that way somewhere, through the trees over there. I'm back to heading west. Yeah, this is part of the old trail up through here, which is very nice. I say nobody uses this trail anymore, but I'm using it today, so somebody uses it. It's just not a mainline trail like it used to be. Hey, what do I find over here? That's a suspicious looking pile of rocks. Yeah, that's one thing you'll find up in places like this. Loads and loads of that one hasn't been used for a long time. That's somebody's old campfire site. Yeah, not sure where you would camp here. Somebody has though. Oh, you've got a tent there. You've got a frying pan, some grill stuff. Yeah, bloody amazing what you find in the middle of, and this is pretty much in the middle of bloody nowhere. That's amazing what you find, isn't it? Right, on I go. That way. As you can see down through here, I mean, this was clearly a nice wide track at one point. Just down here, you are going to have to cross Link Creek, which is just a little small creek. And here, I crossed that this morning, down about 4 or 5 inches. Now, the path, by the look of it, kind of went straight off there, but if you just come to this side, watch the rocks and the holes, and you're just going to wade across here. Yeah. See if I can do this without dropping my camera. This is the other reason why I hike in welly boots, because I can just walk across this. This is only about 4 or 5 inches deep, but I don't have to worry about it. Look at that. Oh my god, look at that. If that does not make the entire trip worthwhile, look at that. Wow. Let's just listen to that for a bit. Okay, that's as long as I can listen to it, because if I stand there any longer, I can feel myself dissolving, because the mosquitoes are just eating me alive. Right, so that's your crossing across the creek there. And right, back to the parking lot, which is just up through this way. Right, back I go. Back at the beginning. See, other people do use this. It's a couple of horse trailers. Can you imagine towing that down that road? That is just insane. Right, so I'm going to call that it. Let's sit down and have a drink. You know, these people towed these trailers in here. Well done, guys. Yeah, they've always gone off with the horses and stuff. I'm going to call that the end of the trail. Thank you very much for coming along. Right, going to do a little bit here. This is Ware Creek sign. That's a new sign, that. This I think is where Mark parked. And it's not a bad spot to actually park. This is not bad at all. The creek is a little steep down there. Where the horse trail was, where I showed you earlier, from the other side, they cross is up here. Yeah, I'll show you where that is. Yeah, well, I can tell you now, it's a very nice day to walk through the woods, but holy crap, that man. Yeah, it is rough, like really rough. So where I came out the trees earlier was over there, and then I walked back along the bank up to the other side. Oh, there's actually a sign here. Did they put a sign in? Yeah, it is. Yeah, okay. They've added another sign up in here as well. This one's new. I don't remember seeing this. Yeah, what does this say? North Forks. Yeah, that's correct. And this is the bit I showed you where the horses cross. So Ware Creek and North Fork. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is where you could cross here if you wanted to, but I didn't. That's where I was in the trees earlier when I was doing the video, and then I turned off that way. Yeah. Right. So I'm just trying to psych myself up for doing this road. I only have a small car, and getting up down this road in a small car is an interesting proposition at best. Yeah. At worst, it's a bloody nightmare. Right. So I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to head up over there. But, not sure how many more times I will actually come down through here, you know, because this road is getting so bad. I can access this from the south. I can access this whole area from the south. I'll just have a little bit further to walk. That's fine. That's not a problem. However, I thought I'd try it from the north. Not successful. The brush is so high, I can't even see the top end of the trail. I'm going to research it when I get home, find out where I went wrong, but the top end of the trail is just gone. I'm sure the horse people know exactly where it is, but I don't. So like I say in all my videos, know your limit, stay within it, and do what's safe. If you go missing down in that valley, they ain't going to find you. People go missing down in there and they don't get found for years and years and years. So it's if ever. Right, so I'm going to head home. This is actually the end of the video. Thank you very much for coming along. I'm going to get to the other end of the road and hopefully in one piece. For a bit of context, I'm just going to show you a piece of this road. Just a short piece, because I do need two hands to drive this, but this is what you're up against. See, look at this. This is just ruts. I'm having to stay on the top of the ruts and drive down here. I can tell you now, this is, if you're not comfortable driving on roads, this is actually a road. Believe it or not, this is a two-lane road. Right, I'm going to put this away until I get to the bottom. Well, anybody that knows this road will know that I'm back to the bridge, which means I'm just about out of here. And I can honestly say, having driven that road, it's bloody horrendous. If they don't run a grader up that road, it's going to be unusable. But I just saw a guy go ripping up there in a truck. He come flying up through there. I'm literally first gear crawling along 10 kilometers an hour. And this guy's just ripping up through there, and I'm thinking, any second now, buddy, you're going to know why I was going slow. And in my rear view mirror, all I saw was brake lights and dust. So I got a feeling he just slammed the anchors on. Yeah, that was not smart. Whoever you were in that little Toyota ripping up there, that was stupid. Yeah, there's people up there in cars, there's people walking, you know, there's people on bikes. That was just plain stupid. Anyway, you can't fix stupid until they end up in the ditch. Yep. They got a truck and they think they're invincible, but I can tell you now, that is, even in a truck, you've got to go real careful up that road. Right, either way, I've done that road I don't know how many times. I'm kind of convinced myself that maybe that's the last time I will ever go up that road unless they actually fix it. So I can access everywhere I need to go from the south, so no need for me to really go that way anymore. Right, I will definitely call that the end of the video, and I'm just going to have a cup of tea because I brought tea with me, and I'm going to enjoy this view.